Lizzo has exposed the music industry for what it actually is. And in this video that's going completely viral, you are going to be able to gain a lot of benefit if you stay attentive and actually listen to things that she has to say and what I have to say at the end as well.
The music industry is in complete shambles right now, and you can use that to your advantage. Back in the day, the music industry was very algorithmic, as any other industry was, but that industry was controlled to a certain extent. Now that we are in the digital streaming age, there is no control over the algorithm, and it is stressing people the fuck out, myself included. Every major artist besides Beyonce has dropped music this year or is planning to drop music this year.
Before she even finishes, I do find it crazy how a lot of people, including myself, we just haven't necessarily been seeing music. Like, I believe Drake dropped the other day, and it took for my boy to be like, oh, Drake just dropped a new single. What do you think about it? And people asking me in the studio, what do you think about this song and that song and this song and that song? And I totally understand it. As someone in the music industry, I should be staying on top of, trends and what's going on, etc. But at the same time, from the point that even creatives and people that deem themselves professional aren't necessarily seeing things, how do you expect fans to also see it? Do you know what I mean? The algorithm is completely changing. I keep on saying that we will never realize the power and the change that TikTok has actually made in history and the way people interact and consume information and entertainment up until, I believe, the next maybe 20 or 30 years. There's some studies already right now, but I generally believe that until, we have a whole generation growing up on TikTok, for example, that's when we'll start to understand the effects. I believe I was looking at an article the other day and it was talking about how the human beings are now have less of attention span than a goldfish. Like, imagine that, do you know what I'm saying? So staying on top of music and staying on top of trends, etc., everyone's basically fatigued and overstimulated. So you can't necessarily blame people when they don't necessarily hear your stuff. But from the point where it's no more independent artists that are now complaining that, people aren't necessarily hearing my stuff, it's actually the big guys as well. And the top percentage of the entire world are saying it as well. It's kind of scary, but before she even carries on, she mentioned how it's not because the music isn't great anymore. I generally believe that music and the quality of music has declined, like, severely. Of course, you still got people out here doing their thing, etc. But I was saying it to my boy, for example, it's rare for you to get songs that tick every single criteria. Like, the lyrics are on point, the melodies on point, the production's on point, the mix, the feeling, like everything that makes the songs that makes great, period. When you're looking like, for example, the 90s or even the 2000s, because again, those are the only years I can really relate to, it was just a period where it was almost as if every single song that was coming out was just a hit. Like, even the songs you didn't like, you still found some way to basically resonate with the song somehow. Do you know what I mean? So we've gone from that type of era, and it's also because there's no more control. The labels used to control absolutely everything and could literally say, okay, you guys are all going to listen to this people and perceive it as lit. And it can make artists seem way bigger than they actually are as well. So there's pros and cons to everything. Now, when it comes to now, the quality of music has dropped, but I don't believe it's because we're less of musicians or anything like that. I believe that artists are under pressure, and they're not given enough time to do artist development. People say, oh, why is it that we don't have great artists anymore? Back then, artists had to do artist development. Every single great act, the Beatles, for example, they went through their own artist development. They were touring all around, Europe for years and years and years before they came back to, obviously, Liverpool, and then obviously got a record deal and then just started to become known as, the Beatles. Now, their music is deemed as some of the greatest music to ever come to this world, you know what I mean? Michael Jackson, for example, like his father literally groomed someone like Michael Jackson into a superstar. Let's be real. Beyonce, for example, her father literally groomed her into becoming a superstar from even when she was with Destiny Child, for example. Lizzo as well. People don't realize that Lizzo's been in the game for a very long time, songwriting for other people. I think I was listening to, this was back when I was DJing. I was listening to a Clean Bandit album because I wanted to basically get a song out of it to basically mix or something. It's some long stuff anyways. But I then saw Lizzo. I was like, Clean Bandit and Lizzo. And this was, it must have been like 2012 or 11. Something like that. It was when like Rather Be came out by Clean Bandit, for those that know. And back then, I think she was even rapping, if I'm not mistaken, like semi rapping, semi-singing, and I was like, okay, she's cool. All of a sudden, years later, see Lizzo and she's gone. Do you know what I mean? So it's crazy, it's crazy, it's crazy. So artists aren't necessarily given the time to develop, and they have to put themselves through artist development, which is amazing because you get raw talent, but we don't have the longevity of the artists back then. There's a reason why an Usher can come out and still perform like he was still in his 20s. Someone like Chris Brown can come out and perform like he's still in his 20s. Beyonce can perform like she's still in her 20s. Lizzo can perform like she's still in her 20s, or do you get what I'm saying? So it's interesting. I'm challenging artists and every single person that watches this video that you need to figure out ways to actually develop yourself and actually go through your own artist development. Part of the way that I went through my own, you could say, artist or artistic development as a producer and engineer was that I was binge watching YouTube videos, binge watching, different documentaries and different things to understand how the greats thought, how they, went about creating their music, how they approached it, all the stories. I know a lot of the stories, you know what I'm saying? I became a fanboy and a fanatic about my industry because I wanted to become, and I still want to become, the best. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'll definitely say that. So the quality of music, in my opinion, has definitely dropped. But it's not completely on the artist. It's just the way people consume music. We don't go to buy CDs anymore. We literally stream music. And music has gone from a luxury into it becoming a commodity. And I heard this in T-Ron's interview as well, actually. I've done a reaction to him like a couple of days ago anyways. One of the best songwriters we have on planet Earth right now. Do you know what I'm saying? He was talking about in the Caribbean, how they heard and grew up on music was that every single song could be a rock song, could be a pop song, could be a folk song, could be reggae, could be whatever it is, or hip hop. Whatever was lit was able to actually go over to where they were, and they all heard it on one station. It wasn't a case where you tune into pop, then you tune into this, then you tune into that. That wasn't a thing for them, and that's the reason why he's so versatile in the way that he basically approaches things. In the UK, I remember growing up and we had what the Americans had, where if you wanted to listen to, the 70s or 80s, you go to a, I forgot what they even call the channel. You go to them old school channels where every single thing you heard was like, dun, 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 then type of vibes, you know what I'm saying? Then if you wanted to listen to pop, you're going to, Kiss FM, for example. If you wanted to listen to newer music and you could say underground music, in my opinion, it was Capital Extra. And I feel like they leaned into that even more and they became the go-to for that. I remember even driving to, I wasn't driving, but I was being driven to primary school, even to secondary school in the early stages. And whenever Kiss was on, we're like, nah, let's change it to Capital because we're going to be able to hear this artist or that artist. There's something to look forward to. And as you may or may not know, the labels own the radios. They own that. So now that we have the internet, we have streaming, etc., it's completely fractionalized everything. There's no one channel anymore. There's hundreds of channels. I was even on TikTok right now, and there's even like thousands and thousands and thousands of people in different rooms. And each room has like 100 people rather than it being maybe like 5 rooms having a couple thousand. Now, the good thing about it is that you have the people that are really tuned into what you are saying or what you're singing or whatever. The bad thing about it is that you have to really, really lean in and actually serve them and also become a spokesperson for them in order to keep them as well. So, yeah. At the end of the day, that's just the era that we're in. You need to serve your fan base. You need to serve the people that are catered towards you. Like I said, the pros of it is that these people are going to be with you ride or die. You literally hone in and serve them. But the lesser benefits of it is that there's no such thing as being an artist anymore, in my opinion. What I mean by that is that what prevents a lot of artists from wanting to blow or actually being able to blow within the scene and actually take it to the next level is that they're still thinking that we're back in like the 2000s where an artist can solely be an artist. As an artist, you need to be your own engineer, your songwriter, your own producer, your own manager, your own business person, your own marketer, your own everything. You need to be efficient in multiple skills. For a lot of artists and a lot of us creatives, it's very, very draining. Do you get what I'm saying? It's similar to a couple years ago, you would have never ever seen me on content. Now, I do content not because I have to, well, because I have to. Let's be real. Like, there's no producer or engineer that will be like, oh yeah, like, I need to do content. And even artists as well, yeah, I need to do content. It's very rare. But that's also the reason why the most successful people within the space now are people that aren't necessarily the most talented, but they have the willingness, you know, the zealousness, or all these words that I can use for you guys to go ahead and actually take over the music scene. So in reality, it's good if you are able to take agency within the scene. You can build your own fan base, and you know, we talk about that a lot on this channel. So if you're interested in things like that and learning how to do so, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If not, you're going to be left behind. It's just as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? But my people, them, I appreciate you watching and looking into the end. I'll catch you in tomorrow's video.